What's up, YouTube? I think I finally freed up some space on my iPad because I went into my set, like before I started this video, I went into my settings and I looked at the storage and it was like, oh, you have 25 gigabytes left. And I was like, yes, like finally I can do stuff on my iPad again, like make music or edit stuff on iMovie. So I didn't get my GoPro yet. I didn't get it for Easter, like this past weekend. But I'm hoping that this weekend I can go get it um, at Costco because they probably have like the best deal on it. It's like $300 for the GoPro, a tripod, a like the handheld thing that extends and like you can hold it out like in front of you or move it around you or whatever. And it has the 360 point of view, so if you change the lens on it, then it has that view where like the world is like at your feet and the you have the sky, you have the world at your feet, and then like it's just you like walking around and like everything around you is like kind of like I think you know what I'm talking about, like the 360 degrees like point of view. So that will be super cool for vlogs, or if I'm just talking about some random shit, that would be like super cool. So so yeah, right now I'm in my room, and I changed the layout of my room, and so my bed is by the window, and there's my TV up there, and then I got my dresser, and then this is actually the desk right here, and so you can't really see it on here. I'm not sure I even really filmed the layout of my room prior to this and put it on YouTube, so it wouldn't really, you guys are not going to see a difference. But I changed the layout of my room because I just wanted a change pretty much. So I got this new vape. It's called a Raz. I don't know if it says on there. R-A-Z, Raz. And this is, see if you can see that. Hawaiian Punch. I think it's backwards, but I think the camera flips it when I stop filming. So it's a, yeah, I think it's like this thing must be like 5 grams or something. It's a pretty big cart. It's got pretty big clouds and it's got like a boost mode. So anyways, I wanted to put out a video on something I've been really excited about for a long time. I've been really excited to put out this video or this message for a while. I've just been holding back from saying it because it's kind of like a form, it's something that I've been doing on my own, kind of all in my head. And it's not like, it's kind of a form of self-help, but to me it's like more than that. It has to do with empathy and active listening and imagination and things that take place kind of all in the brain or all in the head. But each of them is like a little puzzle piece, and once you start putting them together, then your day-to-day life becomes way more like smooth and enjoyable. And to me it almost feels like I've been cleaning out my brain a little bit, like almost like debugging a computer. Like it just feels like a lot of the issues that I used to have mentally, I'm pretty much free of. But it's so anyways, I'll just get into how it's done, how this practice is done. And this is not completely separate from those other practices I was doing, like the dictionary and the scripting for your YouTube videos, it's not completely different. It does involve those, but it's kind of like the whole process, not just like a piece of the process. So the whole process essentially is basically I have to jump to the middle of the process to start explaining it. So it's not easily explainable because when I learned how to do this in my head, um, like I'm not even sure how exactly I figured it out. Like I just kind of like it, and it wasn't a realization or anything that like an epiphany. It was more like I was trying to figure something out mentally for a long time, for several months, and the pieces just kind of came together and sort of fit really well together. So I was trying to figure out this problem in my head, and the problem was like every semester that I've been at school, I feel like more and more of my feelings and emotions have been like siphoned off almost. They've been blunted. And that's because like it's not this is not the only reason, but I've had to take Zoloft, also known as sertraline. I've had to take Zoloft every day that I'm at school because it's required. Most kids at my school take meds, or at my school that I'm graduating in May. But I was required because it was prescribed by my doctor or my psychiatrist, and I never really took it at home consistently. But as soon as I got to school, they're like, "Hey, it's on your medical sheet, so that was given to us by your doctor, so we're requiring you to take it while you're at school, and you have to take it first thing in the morning." So I've had to take it 5 days a week pretty much for almost 2 years, like a year and 6 months. So not 2 years, but a year and 6 months. And it seems like every single semester when I come home from that semester, because there's usually like a week-long break in between semesters, every time I come home, I feel okay. But then once I go back to school, within the first couple of days of school, I notice a significant blunting or drop off of just like emotional feedback, and from really everything, not people. I don't It's not really coming from other people, but it's more just like psychologically I'm getting less and less feedback from my brain or my mind or my emotions. So it's more of an internal thing. And for such a long time during school, I was trying to figure out like the solution to that problem. I was like, how can I stop this from just completely eradicating all of my emotions? And so I came up with this mental kind of process that doesn't really like I modeled this process after the mechanism of antidepressants or selective serotonin reuptake inhibitors. Like I was thinking like, okay, so the mechanism of my antidepressant, I have to create a mental process that mimics that action, but does it in a completely mental way, like in a holistic mental way. So I'm not having to take a pill. And it's not because I was trying to force it to happen so that I could say to them like, "Hey, I don't need to take this anymore." Because I don't have to take it anymore because I'm not at school. So I kind of stopped taking it essentially. But and now I'm in a much better place than I was when I was at school. I'm in a much better place. I've been out of school for let's see, almost 2 months, and I feel much better. And I'm tapering off of Zoloft. We went from 50 milligrams to 25 milligrams, and so basically, my psychiatrist said to me, she's like, "Yeah, if you want to wean off of it, that's totally okay. We just have to taper it off by dose." And so essentially you'll be taking 25 for about 2 months, and then you can be completely done with it because that's the smallest dose. And so I was like, okay, perfect. So I think by the time June or July rolls around, I'll be off of it completely. Even though like I'm not required to take it at home, like you don't have to, but on paper, like it says I'm supposed to take it for another 2 months and then be done with it. What scrap? So basically, like I was like, how do I create something? How do I create a almost like it's almost like a meditation, except you don't have to sit still in a quiet room and close your eyes and sit down when you're doing it. But essentially, like I said, like I have to jump right into the middle of it, and then maybe I'll be able to go back and explain how it starts. But essentially, there are 4 times of the day. There's morning, there's evening. Well, there's early morning, and then there's late morning and afternoon, and then there's evening and night, and then there's like when you're asleep. So there's kind of 4 times of the day. And basically what I did was through my scripting and through my dictionary practice, I came up with this idea of like I'm going to assign 3 words, or actually 4 words, to the different parts of the day, and I'm going to allow my mind to transition between each word throughout the day. So it's almost like I have to hold within my brain a certain word for a set amount of time, and then I say, okay, I'm done with that word and I'm switching to the other word. And the words that I used are not words at all, but they're more like the parts of speech that we have in English. So I assigned, so it goes nouns, verbs, adjectives, and then conjunctive words. So essentially the early morning, like from the time you wake up till about 10:30, I just kind of randomly assigned the time 10:30, but I was like, okay, so from the time that I wake up to 10:30, all of that, the only thing I'm allowed to think about is a person, a place, or a thing. So like a noun. And my logic behind that is that when you start the day, your brain is not fully awake. So you're not, I mean, people do go to work like super early in the morning, or they work out, or they get up and make breakfast. Like they're doing things as soon as they get up. But for me personally, I don't really start my day for a couple hours. That's just how my brain works. So I thought, you know what? The start of the day is going to be nothing but nouns. You start the day in your bed, in your house, you take a shower, you eat breakfast. Those are all things. So those are all nouns. And then the second part from 10:30 until sunset is verbs. And the reason why I chose verbs for the majority of the day is because for the majority of the day we have to do things. We have to work, we have to exercise, we have to look after people, we converse with people. We are essentially doing things like all day. Some of us struggle to do things, but I was just thinking logically it makes sense that I would assign verbs to the majority of the day because because I'm supposed to be doing things. I'm supposed to be going to school. I'm supposed to be working. I'm supposed to be completing assignments. I'm supposed to be doing things. So I assigned verbs to 10:30 to sunset. Now, sunset is a neutral time. Sunset is the transition between verbs and adjectives. And so I assigned adjectives to as soon as sun sets and it gets dark outside, from that point on till midnight is I assigned all the adjectives to that part of the day. And I assigned adjectives to the part of the day because I was like, you know what? I usually feel more emotionally available at night than I do during the day. And I also feel my feelings a lot stronger at night than I do during the day. So I thought by the end of the day, you're able to look back on everything you did during the day, and you're able to say to yourself, was today energetic? Was it boring? Was I lonely? Was I happy? Was I tired? Was I logical? Was I emotional? Was I this? Was I that? And they're all descriptions of how your day went. And then so I use that logic to assign adjectives to the end of the day until midnight. And so hopefully I fall asleep before midnight. And then I started imagining that all of those things that I think about, it's almost like putting all of my thoughts that I have throughout the entire day, from the time I wake up till the time I go to bed. It's almost like putting them all in 3 different baskets: nouns, verbs, adjectives. And I was hoping that it would help me organize my thoughts a little bit. I think my mom is calling for the dogs because they got food. Here you go, guys. So, I'm going to put this more over here. So at night, what I was imagining was that when you go to bed, all of the nouns turn into verbs, all the verbs turn into adjectives, and then the end of the process, what you get at the end of the process, gets processed when you fall asleep, and all of that becomes like a dream or a narrative or something that can be carried into the next day, essentially. Because I used to go throughout my day saying to myself, like, man, I did nothing today, or I was so low energy, or nothing happened, or nothing new has happened, or I'm bored, or I'm lonely. Like, I used to say to myself, like, all these negative things. And I started thinking, like, well, if I do this, then maybe I can think about my day. Like, even though I'm at school and I'm, like, gunning for a job and things are looking up, like, I still feel, like, a lot of negative emotions. And like I said, like, as each semester went on, like, I felt like my emotions were being blunted a little bit. Not just a little bit, like a lot. So I thought to myself, I need to create something that is of equal essence or equal value to this Zoloft. Like, I need the mechanism to be there. I need there to be like a mechanism that's as powerful as the Zoloft. And so, yeah, essentially it didn't like work immediately, but every day when I woke up, I was looking forward to 10:30 because I was like, oh, that's where all the nouns become verbs. And then I was looking forward to sunset because I was like, oh, that's finally when all the verbs become descriptions of verbs plus the nouns. And I got so excited. I got excited for like those 2 times a day. And then I got excited to go to sleep because I was like, oh, it's all gonna like conjoin, it's all gonna come together like in my brain when I'm sleeping, and the next day I'm gonna feel a whole lot better. Just a second. Well, you coming in? Ruby, you coming in? What? How you doing, Mom? I'm doing good. I'm just making a video. I'll be down in a second. So, I was looking forward to those 2 times of the day when I'm awake. And then I was looking forward to whatever would come the next day because I knew that it was all coming together when I sleep. And so it did take like 5 months because again, I was trying to model it after an antidepressant. So like it's supposed to take a couple weeks to a couple months for an antidepressant to start working. So I thought to myself, I was like, okay, this is not going to work immediately. But the more times I think about it throughout the day, or I can't really think about it constantly throughout the day because I'm not thinking about a specific word. I'm just thinking that whatever is going on in my head is going to be a noun, then a verb, then an adjective. Then it's all going to conjoin together. So essentially, like, it was in, I think it was in, let's see, October, no, September. Must have been in September. In September, I was here at my house with two girls from school, and we were watching a horror movie. And at the end of the horror movie, like, I invited them over because I was like, you guys just want to hang out over the weekend because, like, we're kind of friendly with each other. So they said, sure. So I brought them over here. And at the end of the horror movie, I got this huge, like, it was almost like my body was vibrating. And I could feel it from head to toe. And it was like this whole feeling, like, it was physical and it was emotional and it was psychological. Like, it was this feeling that came over me that was so strong that I couldn't, it almost immobilized me. It was so strong. And I was laying down in a beanbag chair, and it just kept me in the beanbag chair for like 2 minutes straight. And I wasn't, like, I could move, but like I didn't want to move because I was feeling so good. And it was crazy. And then after that, like, I I didn't tell them like what was going on because I was like, oh, like, I know what this is. This is like the practice that I've been doing. And like I said, I modeled it after, like, I have to keep on saying that, but I modeled it after the antidepressant. So I think it had like an antidepressant sort of effect on me, like, just doing this practice. And then, you know, after that, things did not get, that was September. So, and then October, November, December, things did not get immediately better, right? I had that experience. It was very visceral, it was very physical, it was very powerful, but like, I didn't get over that feeling of having no emotions like immediately. But I think what the result was I proved to myself that my brain is in my control and my thoughts are in my control. And I think most of the time we don't even know what's going on in our head. Like, we have the words to vocalize what has happened in the recent past, what we're doing right now, what we plan for the future. But what's actually going on in our head, we don't actually, like, really have words for. Like, we can't actually, like, the brain is enabling you to talk, right? We learn from here, we learn from here, we learn from all the things that are going on around us. But like, if we could vocalize what was going on in our heads, then I don't think we would have any problems with depression or anxiety or any of the things we struggle with. So therapy is more of a way to talk about the things you think are happening, but not necessarily what is going on in your head. You know, it's kind of it's like, therapy is like laying train tracks down so that you can get from point A to point B safely. And sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't work so well, but I think that these antidepressant medications have a real effect on our brains, and I wasn't too happy about it for a long time. But I think what happened was I was able to transform all the medicine that was sitting in my body somewhere. Maybe it was all over my body. I was able to transform it into something that actually worked for me. And that shift has, I've just been so, like, I've been so hopeful that, things are in my control and that things can go the way I want them to. And I'm really proud of the progress that I've made since then, since I started doing this. And where it came from, I guess now I'm gonna make a separate video. All I'm gonna do is stop this video, think for like 2 seconds, and then start another video. But to talk about like where the idea came from, it wasn't just it wasn't just the negativity that I was going through at school that prompted me to do this. It was an entirely, well, it was that, but it was also something that it was also a different practice that I had been doing for a long time prior to it, which led me to believe that, you know, what we think can be in our control, and sometimes we can streamline it to where we want it to go. And it doesn't have to be a result of what we hear or the things we're taking in. Um, it doesn't even have to be the result of our personality. You know, like, we can have thoughts that are completely original to ourselves. And I think there's a way to verbalize original thoughts in a way that like actually become almost like medicine for other people, because I think we hear a lot of the same stuff all the time, especially on the internet. We hear a lot of the same rants and yap sessions, and we hear a lot of the same stuff all the time. But when you actually communicate something original, it it does a lot of good for a lot of people. And I told this practice, I explained this practice to my whole family, and I think they've all benefited from it. And I've seen it play out in different ways with my different family members, and I think it does have a real effect on people. So, anyways, that's where I'll stop this video. It's at 27 minutes. I'm going to review this video, and then I'm going to go into the practice beforehand, which was like kind of the foundation for how I started this. So anyways, peace. What's up? This is part 2. Got myself some popcorn. Y'all shopping, everybody's about to get good. So, so I just reviewed my video, and I thought, yeah, that was a great take. Actually, that was a really good take. I said everything perfectly the way I wanted to say it, and I think it comes across pretty clearly, even though to me it seems kind of like it's not complicated or complex to understand, but how it came together for me in my own brain, I don't think I could communicate it to very many people who are not like willing to listen to me, or willing to like get help. So some people outside talking about me. There's literally some like, there's the window. There's literally some people out there talking about me. They're like, oh, listen to that person up there. Maybe I should close the window. But yeah, so it came across pretty well. And I think things vibrate in my room a little bit because it's a small room, so it's easier to hear me like outside. They're walking away now though. So the original. So, anyways, I communicated all that. That's all well and good, but the practice that it comes from, that was happening prior to even before I came to school, was, I think I talked about it in a video called Big Brain Talk. And essentially what that was I talked about the practice of spinning, like in circles, to manage anxiety better and how it can control anxiety. And so that much is true, I think. That much is true, but it can also like amplify your anxiety. Like spinning in circles can amplify your anxiety to the point where you're not in control of it. So, like, anyways, but what I learned from spinning in circles, which came prior to the practice that I just talked about, was the fact that everybody spins no matter like what level you're at. Like, doesn't matter if you're like a pro athlete or like an old person who can barely walk. Like, we all spin. Like, we all move in circles. We all move in circles. So, like, because if you walk into a room and you have to take a right or left turn, that's like a 90-degree turn. If you walk into a building and then have to walk out of it again, that's like a 180-degree turn. If you have to go back to somewhere where you just were 5 minutes ago, that's like a 360-degree turn. Like, it's like we're turning all the time. We're constantly making right or left turns, and so therefore we're constantly spinning. We're just spinning in much larger circles. Oh, they're coming back. I'm gonna see who these people are. Huh. Maybe it was a single person. I have no idea. There's someone else walking by who was talking to somebody on their earpiece. So, anyways, I get kind of nervous talking about the whole spinning thing because I don't want people to start feeling more anxiety because they realize they're spinning all the time. Because I think that's probably not good for people. Because once you get yourself in that loop, it's hard to get out of it, low key. And I even got it tattooed on my skin to remind me that I'm constantly going in circles, like mentally and physically. I got it tattooed just to remind myself. But like, I learned to control the spinning. Like, I learned to control the sensation, like the dizziness in my head. And how I learned to do that I would lay down on my side and I would put a couple drops of water in my ear. And it would really calm down the whole dizziness, like spinning sensation in my ear. And I did that for a whole month. And something similar happened to what happened with the nouns, verbs, adjectives practice, which is like, like I had like a very powerful sensation come over me, and I realized at that point that it was working. That's how I know that something is working. Like, if I can feel it physically, like strong enough, That's where I recognize where it's working. So hungry. My mom's making spaghetti for dinner, so I'm excited. So yeah, I guess I was thinking that I'd make a whole nother video, and that I would start becoming more comfortable like talking to the camera again, because for a long time, for the past couple of videos, I've been uncomfortable speaking at length, even though my videos are like almost 20 minutes. I've been become increasingly like uncomfortable speaking at length, because I was like, dude, I literally have nothing left to talk about besides, like work, essentially, like my internship. I have nothing left to talk about. But I actually have this thing left to talk about. And I think what I just shared, or what I'm sharing right now, will allow me to start making more videos. And I've wished for the longest time that I could talk to the camera or talk to an audience in the same way that other YouTubers do, where they feel so comfortable sharing like their emotions and being vulnerable and their thoughts, like all these things. And I wish I could be like that, but I just always feel too embarrassed that like someone's gonna watch it and someone's gonna think, man, what he's saying is kind of goofy or like ridiculous, and it's not gonna come across. That is really bad. I saw right there is really bad. It's not gonna come across in the way that I want it to. But I think sharing that, like after I filmed it and then after I reviewed it, I was like, man, that was like actually pretty good. I was like exactly what I was wanting to say. And it kind of ignited this little thing in my brain, which was like, make more YouTube videos. And so I was like, oh, dude, maybe I'll start making more YouTube videos, like more consistently. I mean, I also want to do the GoPro stuff, but I don't think I'm going to stop making these type of videos. Educational, personal advice, whatever. Like, I don't think I'm going to stop making them. But I definitely have wanted to get to the point where I'm sharing like either political stuff, my political views, my view on the world, my view on, you know, what people are doing out there, instead of just what's going on with me. Like I wanted to get out of my own bubble a little bit when I talk on YouTube. I wanted to get outside of my own personal bubble and talk about the things that everybody else is talking about, like politics, Palestine, Israel, Trump, suffering, like all the things that other people are talking about right now. Someday I think I could be a stand-up comedian. If I got good enough, like if if I developed enough skills to keep an audience entertained for like 40 minutes on YouTube, then I could see that becoming a real skill that could translate into just sharing like jokes, like stand-up comedy sort of stuff, like starting at like open mic nights and starting at open mic nights and like just doing like a 5 minute rant or whatever and trying to get people to laugh, and then maybe from there like making a name for myself and like doing stand-up comedy. I don't know if any other YouTuber sees themselves that way. Like I feel comfortable enough sharing myself on camera that I would do it in front of a live audience. But I don't see why not. I don't see why it wouldn't translate into talking to people in real time. Even though for now it's just me with nobody else in the room, talking to a camera, putting it out on the internet where people can comment, but you're not going to see the reaction in real time. So I know it's a pretty big jump from taking things from the internet into real life, but I think it's possible. So, but yeah, hopefully this will. I've I've wanted to make something out of YouTube. I've wanted voice crack. I've wanted to make something for myself on the internet on YouTube. I just felt like social media was never really good enough for me. Like, I could edit my photos, but they're not as good as someone who is professional. I could make like little skits or like whatever, but they're not as good as like people who know how to edit videos. Like, there's a lot of stuff I could do that I used to do when I was like a kid when it came to social media, but like you're not going to get the same audience you do making YouTubes when you're in your 20s or 30s than you do when you were in high school, and like everybody was new to it and everybody like wanted to follow other random people. Now people are very selective about what they watch on the internet. It seems like everybody's pretty selective except for me. Like, I'll give people the benefit of the doubt, and if a new channel pops up on YouTube, then I'll like watch like 5 of their videos. Even if their videos are like half an hour, I'll watch them all the way through, and then I'll decide and then I'll keep their channel. I'll subscribe to them, but like I won't necessarily go back to them if I don't feel like I'm resonating with them. Yeah, but I think I'm ready to like make content that's not about me personally and is more about what's going on in the world. And maybe I shouldn't be like so scared to just share my opinion on it, even though it's not the same as like other people that I watch. So anyways, we'll see where it goes. Maybe I'll make a video tonight or tomorrow that's completely different. So anyways, we'll see. And I know I didn't speak much on the practice that came before, but really it just comes down to spinning and realizing that everybody is making spins all the time, just that they're not aware of it. What, Ruby? So anyways, I hope you guys got something from that video. I hope it was worth watching this. And I hope if you're a content creator, you keep on putting out content and you make the content that you want. And I hope you reach your goals and whatever you're trying to do with it. So anyways, hopefully this is turning over a new leaf, a new page, whatever. And almost like starting my channel over, but I'm not going to take down all my old videos. So anyways, peace.